My name's Ron Loines, and my involvement in Accurate really started not in the sense of a deep involvement, but it started back probably almost 50 years ago when I was trying to build a company down the street, and I met Paul Lunhofer, the owner of Accurate at the time.
Paul Lunhofer was a rather colorful character. Grew up in Chicago, grew up relatively poor. He ended up working at Lindbergh Steel Treating in Melrose Park in the tool and die section. His brother was also at Lindbergh Steel Treating. He wound up working for Lindbergh Steel Treating, their Los Angeles division, with contacts, friendships, had an opportunity to start Accurate Steel Treating. A fellow by the name of Joe Witt, who was principal engineer for Weiser Log Company, had a building. Joe had been investing in property. They were storing dies for Weiser Lock-In. Joe leased Paul the front half of the building to start a heat treat shop in. And that was the foundation. Paul went out and borrowed $10,000, hawked his house. I think at the time his wife was a telephone operator. And they started Accurate Steel Treating.
And I looked up to him. He was kind of a mentor to me for almost 20 years before he passed away, because I was struggling to try to build a business, and he had already built a very successful business here at Accurate. So we became very good friends over the 20 years. As I said, he was a mentor, and I bounced a lot of things off of him. He gave me a lot of advice.
Paul always used to say, tell the customer what they want to hear and then figure out a way to do it. And we'd all laugh about it. But really, our reputation to this day is for turning the work over with a fairly rapid response time. So many people would drop stuff off at night and want to pick it up in the morning, and that was how the company was ran. Whatever the customer wanted, they got. We figured out how to do it, and it was pretty much a family. His brother-in-law, myself, I became part of the family. His nephew, Lee Harker, and then there was other people that came along as we went along. There was a character named Larry Fierro, who was another one of life's characters, part of the company for several years. Accurate, really the history of it is one of those wonderful American success stories.
A couple of weeks before Paul passed away, he asked me to become the trustee of his trust and instructed me as to what he wanted done with the business, which was, it was too late to save it and to close it down. And at the time, he had a wife and a 3-year-old daughter. So after he passed away, I took a good look at the business and got some input from customers, from his accountant, and other people who all pretty much said the business needed to be closed down. But over the years, in my own business, I had struggled with some pretty challenging things, and so I looked at Accurate, and I just couldn't force myself to let 15 people go. And a wife who obviously, after looking into it, would have nothing, and a little girl. So I decided to try to save the business. So I needed a new manager, and because of my years of experience with what had happened at Accurate the first 20 years, I knew of 2 gentlemen that I felt could run the company. As it was, we ended up hiring Mike Bastian to be the general manager. He had had a history here, and he ended up coming back.
There was 15 families involved, and Ron and I laughed about it. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and over the years it's proved proved out to be a pretty damn good offer. Although during the first year we had a lot of problems.
You know, I had a reluctance to even hire Mike. I mean, I felt he was the right person for the job, but you talk about relationships and history. Mike and I were very good friends, and we went to high school together. So here, I'm putting a friendship on the line, and I'm going to be this guy's boss. And I was concerned that, you know, I don't want to sacrifice a friendship to get a general manager.
I started December 1st of '89, and I met Ron at a Mexican restaurant to go shopping for the wives at the time, and we never got out of the bar. So do not want to ever go through those kinds of problems again. And we've had our hardships along the way as economic times have changed.
And I could say, you know, that after 20 years, Mike and I have had a great relationship this whole time, and there's never been really any rough roads where we both weren't in tune with working together and getting the job done. And when the friendship had to be set aside, it was set aside and understood. And that is rare in itself, for two friends to be in business together for 20 years and to be able to say that the whole 20 years has been enjoyable and a good experience.
The company started turning around at the end of that first year, and we started growing. Ron kept reinvesting in the company, which we've done and we still do, to keep growing the company to suit market needs. And we had a sustained growth during that first 10 years of somewhere in the neighborhood of 17% a year. Everybody pretty much knew who Accurate Steel Treating is, especially in the tool and die arena and our specialty things. So we reached out and re-grabbed, so to speak, market share. Grew the company, added equipment, and we kept reinventing ourselves, getting into precision case hardening, expanding on the nitriding line. We got into ion nitriding, Accurate Ion Technologies, got that company going. That was started out of a long-running concern of not being able to continue to get your hands on ammonia, which is part of the nitriding process. That was part of the reason for that, and then also some niche specialty. So we're always looking for an opportunity for a new niche, a new mousetrap, so to speak, specialize in something that our competition doesn't. And that's what the company is today. Ron wound up being trustee of the estate, and as time was going along, Paul's widow clearly didn't understand what this business is, and for the benefit of all the employees and the longevity of the company, Ron bought the company out of the trust. And the way the thing was packaged up, it was very beneficial for you and her daughter, Paul's daughter. Then Ron started buying the property the company sits on. There again, being able to control your future by owning the property you sit on, and the property does increase in value. So it's just, you know, again, another American success story of how you shape your own destiny. I always say we've been well blessed over the years with how this is all unfolded, and it happens routinely.
One of the first things that we needed to do was think about what we were going to do with the company to put it in a position where we could do things that we weren't doing before, because what we were doing before was leaving the country. So Mike and I decided that one of the avenues that would probably be open for us in this industry was that there was a lack of technology on the West Coast to deal with the new tool steels and new steels that performed better than existing tool steels, but required special equipment to do it. So we purchased the first high-pressure 10-bar vacuum furnace west of the Mississippi and brought it into Akron and started going after some of that work, which we were very successful in bringing in new work. One of the other things we realized is that we needed to start doing more production type work and in different industries. So we started looking into the racing industry, the medical industry, many of the things that Paul had never really attempted to look at because the tooling that he did was enough to keep the company successful. One of the other directions we decided to go into was ion nitrating, and at the time there was a lack of people that had that technology in the U.S. I think when we bought our first ion nitrating equipment, there was probably only 4 other companies in the U.S. that had the technology and know-how to do ion nitrating. So we brought that in. That proved to be successful for the company also. The first couple years was just trying to get it back into the black and save the company, and then Mike and I sat down and decided what direction we were going to go into to grow the company in the future. Over those 20 years, when we took the company over, we were at about 15 employees. Now we're at 54. I think we had 3 or 4 routes with the trucks. We're at 8 now. So now that we're 20 years down the road, what I feel that we've accomplished is the first thing that we did was work back towards the integrity that Paul started in the beginning, that he really focused on customer service and fast turnaround. And I feel like in those areas we're probably one of the premier heat treat shops, at least in Southern California. As far as the future, the next 20 years or so, Mike and I have always had the attitude that we're going to reinvest in the company. We're continuing to do that. Our aim now, our goal now, is to add some capabilities and some approvals and do it in a way that we're not going to sacrifice the service and turnaround that we have been giving our customers.
We're working towards getting into the aerospace arena. We strongly believe as a company and the group of people that I have around me that that's where we need to go for the future to ensure this place, 5, 10, 15 years from now, we're working at trying to position it for the longer term.
So it's grow, but don't grow at the expense of service to our customers. And we feel like we have a base of second-level management that's among the best. And these are the guys that are going to make this happen over the next several years.
So that's kind of a snapshot of what the company has been and where we plan on going.